Good day, everyone. Apologies for the delay, having a little bit of technical issues here, but I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. Before we get started, I do have some important information to share about who we are at IAMS and a quick highlight of why our agents love working with our team. We will have a few polls during the webinar, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to put them in the webinar questions, and we'll make sure that they are answered for you today. So the first thing I want to highlight today is our commitment to delivering best-in-class customer service for our advisors. And one way we do this is you can always reach a live person during our business hours at 800-255-5055. We do strive to answer your phone call with IAMS employees with a 2-ring or less. So the next slide here, our new producer builders are for those of you who are new to us at IAMS. These bonuses are available based on your production level in your first 180 days of contracting with us. We have great levels that you can qualify, and as you can see inside each level are some great options for you. We've got incredible businesses building tools, personal perks for you, and even cash rewards are available. If you'd like to know where you stand toward your new producer builder, or if you would like to have a conversation about how to achieve that next level, please give me a call. You can give me a call here at 800-255-5055. Another business builders program that we provide for our agents is our referred producer program. I do see a couple advisors on with us today that have taken advantage of this program. Our business on the wholesale side of the industry is similar to yours in the field, in that one of the best leads we could ever obtain is a referral from one of our valued producers. Now, this is why we do want to make it worth your while to refer an advisor to us. That being said, when you do refer a producer and they get contracted, we will cut you a $50 thank you check. Now, where the real money comes in is as your referral writes business, you'll receive an override on that business. Our ownership team, Charles, Steve, Curtis, and Chris, they sign checks for thousands of dollars every quarter. With that said, if you can think of anyone that could benefit from doing business with our team, please type their information into the questions box, or you can email me that information. Below that is our marketing reimbursement program, which is our most popular program that we do offer. For every $100,000 in FIA premium, gets you $100 into your marketing reimbursement account. Why this is so popular and lucrative for our advisors is we truly do consider this to be your money. You have the flexibility on what services, when, and who you use these funds with. It is your marketing reimbursement. We don't tell you the vendors you have to use. We do recommend vendors that we partner with and leverage reduced rates and preferred services. We also have our creative team to create a marketing strategy and provide in-house services. If you'd like to know how much is in your marketing reimbursement account or have a conversation about how to utilize it, give me a call here at our office. I'd love to tell you more about that. Next, we have our back office support. This is another way that we add value to your business. This is the core of IAMS and how Charles Huring founded us years ago. We want to help the independent advisor work smarter, not harder. We will be doing this with great business building tools and resources. Of course, advanced case design assistance, life and annuity quotes is an area that we assist with. We're going to get you those illustrations that you request within 24 hours. And quite honestly, in reality, we'll have them out to you much quicker than that, usually within the hour. Submission to commission support is handled by our new business teams. Mackenzie heads up the annuity side. Michelle heads up the life side. They have fantastic teams who work tirelessly to help you get commission quicker. We will scrub your applications, submit them on your behalf, do the administrative tracking, and get you updates on the cases needed. We do this to ensure that you get commissioned as quickly as possible. This is the service that we provide to our valued producers and how we help you grow your business by keeping you in front of clients while our team handles the back office. Our website is a great tool for our producers to use and another reason to work with IAMS. Once you are contracted, you have full access to everything you see on this slide and so much more at iamsinc.com. If you haven't registered for the website, it's very easy to do. When you're done with this call, go ahead and create an account. We'd love to see you on there. A lot of great resources are available to you, including illustration tools, online forums, product grids, and product news. Industry updates are out there as well. Technology is where the industry is going, and Luma is our newest partnership to streamline the application process. Most of our carriers are now on our Luma Firelight e-app platform, so you can go to one site to submit business. It is COVID friendly, and some carriers are going to e-app only for some of their product lines, and will also offer extra comp for utilizing the e-app platform. Make sure to ask your sales director before you submit a paper app if you can earn more by doing e-app submission. We do have a full in-house creative team. We can help you help your practice, and a lot of items are turnkey and available for you. Many of our sales resources are white labeled, so we can simply impose your contact information and your business logos onto it. Speaking of logos, Agency Solutions is an expertise for our team. If you haven't created a full customized brand for you and your agency, we can help you with that. This is going to assist you with name recognition, which pretty much grows your natural market organically. Lastly, digital marketing. Pardon me. Digital marketing solutions are a very popular topic around IAMS. We can help you with websites, social media marketing, email marketing, and so much more. The internet and social media sites are where the overwhelming majority of prospects go to for information. Making sure you are accessible and represented in those market lanes is beneficial to growing your practice. Reach out to myself or one of the sales directors here with a phone call after this webinar concludes. So you can talk to them about how you can access IAMS Creative, so we can certainly get that ball rolling for you. IAMS also offers a complimentary marketing analysis for agents looking to explore new sales ideas and programs. Whether you're new to the industry or a seasoned producer, this free assessment can help you boost your business with insights on your website, digital presence, branding, and current marketing activities, as well as recommendations on trusted vendors for everything from lead generation to seminars and social content. Reach out to myself or one of your sales directors to get started at any time. Pardon me. We've founded IAMS Wealth several years ago, and what we've done is grow this division of IAMS very organically. We've helped advisors become IARs and pass the Series 65 at a very successful clip. Once we have you registered, we will bring great value to your practice with an incredibly competitive fee structure for both you and your clientele. We have great technology and a great investment platform. This has been a major growth sector for our business, and assets under management could be a major growth sector for you and your business as well. Next, we have the Life and Annuity Academy. These two-day trainings are an excellent opportunity for our advisors who are looking for new ways to grow their business. IAMS all expense paid academies give you an opportunity to learn more from our top producers. They will go over the marketing strategies that they have and get to the bottom, that help them get to the bottom to the top. It also gives you a chance to speak with your peers in the industry from all over the country. I would highly recommend that you do get registered for this next one coming up June 4th through the 6th. At this time, I am going to be posting a poll question and that is if you would like more information on our IAMS Annuity Academy. I'll leave this up here for a couple of seconds here to make sure everybody has a chance to answer, and we will move on. All righty. I appreciate everybody taking the time to read through that and answer this poll question. And we will get moving on. And finally here, we are getting ready to conclude our next Top Producer Summit in Quebec City, August 3rd through the 8th of this year. All business written through IAMS counts towards qualifying now through the end of June 30, 2025. 5 million points will punch a ticket for you and a guest. Make sure you call your sales director today for details and to check your current points standing. And finally, before I present and get this over to Chad, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. And Chad, take it away, sir.
Good. So we had a little bit of technical difficulties getting lined up. So Sergio is going to be driving for me. I've sent him my slides. So you're going to hear me saying next and move on and all that good stuff. Anyway, glad to be here with you guys. IAMS is a great partner of ours, and you heard a lot of the value that they offer, which, you know, what was interesting is you didn't hear any product. There's a lot of product out there. We all do things pretty well, but it ultimately comes down to the service support partnership that you have with your partner in IAMS that really make a lot of the difference. At any rate, I want to talk a little bit about you know, some ideas on how we can work into the next generation. I think oftentimes that discussion's left off. We work so hard at getting a client, then ultimately do we work hard enough to really kind of build around that client and break into you know, the different generations, whether that's up or down, honestly, whether it's the adult kids or whether it's even the parents. So I think we've got some ideas around that. You can only be top rate so often. We do have a nice rate bump that's coming in May 7th. So be on the lookout for that, which is great. I'm sure Sergio and the team will get those rates out to you guys as they're available next week. But I want to talk a little bit about some ideas on inherited, you know, inheritance and how an annuity can really fit into that program. Sergio, if you can go next. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about Mass Mutual Ascend. We're the old Great American. Some of you might know that. We're now Mass Mutual Ascend. And, you know, we offer fixed, indexed, fee-based, RILA. We offer a number of different products in the marketplace. We are one of the few A++ carriers. And in this marketplace where you're starting to see a little bit of noise with some of the carriers and possibly not the financial strength you're looking for a carrier that you're working with and partnering with, know all well that we're right there at the top. And we've got something like $60 billion in cash. So if something, you know, hits the fan, so to speak, then we're likely going to be in a good place for your clients, especially if you're thinking long term and you're trying to design a strategy or solution that can fit long term. Then you know you likely want to go with those higher rated companies. Next, Sergio, I always like to start here. What's going on out in the marketplace in the way of baby boomers are set to pass $68 trillion to their children. $68 trillion. So that's a lot of assets out there that hopefully you have opportunity to get in touch with and ultimately provide some solutions to. And I would submit that with the amount of growth we've seen in the annuity space, that there's a decent portion. I mean, not half or not even maybe a quarter of this, but there's a large portion of annuity premium that's going to pass on to beneficiaries. So next, Sergio. So I like to talk a little bit about that. I mean, we're at record inflows year over year in the annuity world. You know, I think it's important to have that tax talk because annuities grow tax deferred. There's very little annuitization when it comes to annuities. I think it's something like 2 or 3% of annuities are ever annuitized. So we know that ultimately is going to pass on to the next generation at some point. And then obviously taxes are ultimately going to be due in some capacity. But we've got some ideas that help kind of, I think, soften that tax burden, if you will. And one that's really unique to us is this pass-in-kind annuity strategy, which I'm going to talk about here in a moment. Those are for trust-owned assets, but also inherited, qualified, and non-qualified. For some reason, a lot of carriers do not take inherited annuities. We will take both inherited qualified and inherited non-qualified, so we can stretch out that tax burden a little bit for the beneficiaries. A small percentage of heirs actually work with their parents' advisors, and this is what I'm tasking you guys with today, is to try to work a little closer with the parents and the kids, and ultimately what the plan is at some point in time, especially if you're selling an annuity. There could be a sizable taxable gain in there. So just having that tax talk ultimately might give you an opportunity to retain those assets at death, but also might give you an opportunity to uncover some more assets from those adult kids that might be doctors, attorneys, business owners, and such. So this offers up a possible transfer of wealth to multiple generations. So this is kind of, I guess I'm setting up a little bit of what we're going to talk about today. Next, Sergio, please. And here's what I'm talking about. Look at the numbers we've seen, and this is just the last 2 years, year over year. I mean, if you looked at 2022, 2021, I mean, the gross annuity sales have been incredible. And so if you look here in 2024, we actually outpaced, which was an outstanding year in 2023. If you look all the way to the bottom, and in 2023 we did 385 million in billion in total annuities. And if you look over to 2024, that was 434. What I like here is if you look under the fixed offerings, FIAs really got a nice bump. FIAs jumped to where am I here? Fixed rate deferred index, 126 billion. And if you look at the previous year, 2023, they were about 95 billion. So in terms of growth last year, FIAs was where it was at. So we know that there's this built up annuity premium. I think personally we're in the 7th or 8th inning of the replacement business world. So we have to have ideas on uncovering new assets, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But if we're talking about the current block of annuity premium, there's going to be deaths happening. And ultimately you need to know where to go with those assets and with those annuities. Next, Sergio. So we know whenever there's a death, you might have to click, Sergio, you might have to click this one a few times to get everything onto the screen. But at death, there's a couple of options, right? Typically, you can either surrender, the beneficiaries can surrender the contract within a year, or they can elect to do a 5-pay, right? Or get it out over 5 years, or at the end of the 5th year anyway. Or, if they're quick enough and make a quick enough decision, then within the 1st year, they can say, hey, no, I would rather turn this into a non-qualified stretch or a beneficiary IRA, where you can, of course, take advantage of a 10-pay, where you can have at least 10 years to get it out. So I'd like to point out that, this is obviously the way to go if it comes down to a tax consideration. There's sizable gains in the contract, then we might want to consider some sort of stretched idea. And again, we're one of the few that will take that. Next, Sergio, I don't know if can you tell me, Sergio, are you there? Are you able to talk, Sergio?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's this slide here? Is it the leaving a legacy, where I go into an example?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time here because we got off to a little bit of a late start. So Sergio, let's move on from this. I think the idea and the concept is John buys the annuity and there's ways to stretch it. So if you go to the next one, it kind of is on that same kind of path, I believe. But let's go to, Sergio, if you don't mind, the slide that says leaving a tax-deferred legacy, managing generational wealth transfer. Okay, yeah, because this is really where I think what I have talked about here prior, I think ultimately most folks know the inherited annuity idea that is available only with a few carriers that'll take it. And I think those are conversations we should be having with our current clients and understanding, hey, here's an idea for you. When you pass away, when you get your halo, there's a sizable taxable gain here. Let's bring the adult kids in for a conversation so that they can understand what I've designed for you here, and so that I can share with them different tax advantaged ideas when it comes down to distribution. So I just think that portion of the presentation is really around current book of business. You've got annuities in your practice. There's potentially going to be deaths that are happening. Now you know, and Sergio and the team know that we're a good home to help stretch that tax burden. But something that I shared with the IAMS team a few weeks back, I guess, huh, Sergio, is an idea that is really, really cool. If you're working with high net worth clients, and those clients happen to have trust-owned assets, then you want to hear this story. Or if you've been partnering with estate planning attorneys, and you guys are starting to design and plan estate plans for your clients, and then ultimately you're likely going to be moving assets into a trust. This is a really cool idea where you can utilize an annuity in a super tax advantaged way to move on to the beneficiary. So I know that's a lot of a setup there, but we call this the pass in kind idea. And ultimately, the idea behind having an annuity inside or owned by the trust is really quite simple. Trusts and the tax drag. I mean, when you look at non-grant, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you, Sergio, to move on to the next one. So trusts and the tax drag, that's where I'm at. And you know, no matter how you stretch it, whether the taxes are paid outside of the trust or inside of the trust, if we're talking about millions of dollars inside of a trust, even if they're generating just a 5% return, which is what you can get in a CD these days, then you're likely going to have enough income in there that the beneficiary, benefactor, the grantor of the trust is ultimately going to have some decent taxes to pay. So the next slide, Sergio, is an example. A non-grantor trust, they owe substantially more in income taxes on the same taxable income. So if we look over to the right here and we see estates and trusts, if it's a non-grantor trust, look at how early you hit the 37% tax bracket. It's $15,651 in income inside the trust, hits that 37% tax bracket. Now I get it, there's a fair amount that are set up as grantor trusts where the income's being paid out. So then that would fall more to the left where we're looking at Social Security number income. And a married filing jointly, for example, at $751,000, you hit that 37% tax bracket. But at any rate, no matter, there are these assets being managed inside of the trust that ultimately are being worked by an advisor such as yourself that are trying to provide some sort of growth. And then ultimately there's income and income taxes that need to be paid by the grantor. So the idea of positioning a tax-deferred vehicle like an annuity makes a lot of sense here. So if you go to the next slide, Sergio, this kind of just stays right in line with what I've already talked about. So let's go to the next one. And let's talk about this, what we call pass-in-kind opportunity with a trust. So most carriers will take trust-owned annuities. That's nothing new. It's how they're designed that is very unique. There's only a few carriers that have grabbed on to a private letter ruling that's available from the IRS that allows for this type of a setup. So the pass-in-kind annuity strategy basically allows for, instead of the grantor being the annuitant on a trust-owned annuity, you can actually bring in one of the beneficiaries of the trust and put them on as the annuitant. The trust is still the beneficiary. When the grantor passes away, actually instead of a death claim being filed, the annuitant is allowed to send in a change of ownership form, and the trustee obviously provides that to us. And the annuitant steps up and steps in to ownership of the annuity, and it's a non-taxable event. So bullet point here, bullet point 3 here, no tax reporting. Flexibility for the grantor. If these are truly assets that are designed to be passed on at some point, which ultimately is what trust assets are, right? They're trying to get it out of the estate. So ultimately, virtually everything within the trust is designed at some point to be passed on, this is a really cool strategy and a way of like taking an annuity sale and making it move on to the next generation as a non-taxable event. And I'm not talking about what we just talked about a little while ago, where the beneficiary has to stretch or anything along those lines. They truly take it over as their own and continue that tax deferred growth. So Sergio, let's look at an example on the next slide, because these are the kind of cases I'm telling you that we're getting right now. Think about Karen here and Jim, and maybe they have 5, 7, 10, 12 million dollars that they've moved over into a trust, and those assets are now owned by the trust. They've tried to move it out of the estate. So Jim and Karen Smith establish a trust as part of their estate plan. Jim dies a few years later. Karen, as the surviving trust, works with a financial professional and her trustee, well, she's likely the trustee at this point still anyway, to manage the assets and decide to purchase one annuity to grow tax deferred. So if you look over to the right, here's the case. A $3 million annuity is purchased. Now, I like to point out, typically, Mr. Advisor, if you want a $3 million annuity purchase, you probably have to call Sergio or whoever it is you work with at IMES. Then they're going to call the carrier and go, hey, I know this is above your maximum, but are you willing to take this? And if so, is there any commission reduction? Are you willing to take it? Are you going to force us to go into allocation options? So, hey, likely we would maybe take this. And I know right now we would take it, but it would maybe come with a 15 or 20% commission reduction. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. Now, the trust assets grow tax deferred. What we used here is on our Legend 7-year product, which is our top seller. We have a 9% cap, which is actually bumping to 10% on May 7th, but we have a 9% cap. So I just looked over and utilized an illustration using the 9% cap on the S&P, and I just showed it for 10 years. So the trust assets grow tax deferred at a 9% cap and are now worth $5.484 million. Karen passes away conveniently in the 10th year, right? That's typically how we illustrate things, just for ease of illustration. Karen passes away. Since she was the annuitant on this contract, right? The trust owned it. If you look over to the left, Karen was the annuitant, beneficiary was the trust. So the new trustee then has to what? Disseminate and move the assets out of the trust, likely in most scenarios. So Karen passes away. Since she was the annuitant, then a death claim must be sent into us, and a death claim must be paid out as likely a lump sum, so a sizable tax gain. Remember, a $3 million case that grew $2.484 million, so you have $2.484 million in taxable gains, and those gains are due, right, to the IRS by the beneficiaries, or they might be able to, if they got in front of it in time, to at least take them over 5 years, right? So we have the 5-pay consideration that could be there. I also want to point out here real quickly that if this is still what was called a look-through trust, so in other words, if there are living beneficiaries of the trust, keep in mind what we just talked about a little bit ago would be available to you if you moved it to us. Many carriers, likely the existing carrier of the asset or the annuity, couldn't do this. But if you wanted to, if it's a look-through trust, you could at least get those assets over to us, and we could at least stretch that tax burden based on the RMDs of the beneficiaries. So keep that in mind there. Real nice flexible piece. So Sergio, that's the trust-owned idea you probably are most used to. I'm guessing if you're probably nodding your head. Trust owns it. Annuitant is the grantor. Trust is the beneficiary. Just kind of a standard setup. So Sergio, let's move to the next one. So this is the idea I've been talking about the last few slides, where instead of putting the grantor on as the annuitant, what we're going to do instead is take, in this example, there were 3 adult kids as the beneficiaries of the trust. So you have Jim Jr., Mary, and Tim. And what we're going to do, and instead of doing one $3 million annuity, we're going to do 3 $1 million annuities. And Jim Jr., Mary, and Tim are all going to be annuitants one of each child is going to be the annuitant on those $3 million annuities. So three $1 million annuities. I don't know if I made that clear. So the trust assets still grow tax deferred. At the end of 10 years, assuming the 9% cap on the S&P for the Legend 7, each of those $1 million annuities has grown to 1.828. Here's the difference. When Karen passes away, there is no death claim due because she wasn't the annuitant on the three annuities. Her kids were individual annuitants on the annuities, and that's how the death claims pay out. At Mass Mutual Ascend, it's based on the annuitant. So all that has to take place here is that the adult kids will then submit a change of ownership form. At Karen's death, the trustee determines that the annuity contracts will pass in kind to Jim Jr., Mary, and Tim, submitting those change of ownership forms. The children each inherit 1.828 million, completely tax deferred, and they can continue that annuity growth tax deferred for themselves. Here's the beauty. Now when they pass away, now it turns into a potential stretch opportunity, right? So these initial annuities could actually go 4 generations, right? Because the second owners are stepping in as owners, and that's a non-taxable event. Once they pass away, it goes to their beneficiaries. They could stretch the tax burden in the way of an inherited non-qualified annuity. Then if there are any assets left when they pass away, their living beneficiaries can take the remaining payments, if everybody's following me. So it's super cool idea. We're getting monster cases on this. This example is kind of interesting, Sergio, because about 4 weeks ago, my counterpart out in Colorado got a call from an advisor. And he goes, hey, will you guys take a $4 million annuity? I know you probably will, but I know I'm going to get dinged on commission. And Nick goes, listen, I'll give it a shot for you, but let me ask you, are these trust-owned assets? And the advisor said, yeah, actually they are. Why does that matter? And he said, well, let me ask you, how many beneficiaries are there of the trust? And he said, there's 4 adult kids that are beneficiaries. And he goes, this couldn't have worked out any better. He said, what you're going to do, instead of sending me an exception for a $4 million annuity, you're going to write 4 $1 million annuities. And you're going to put each of those adult kids on as annuitants on their own contracts. And then what's going to happen is when the grantor passes away, they're going to take over these contracts as if it were their own. He was like dumbfounded by it. He couldn't believe that this was something that was going to work. And that's where we are on it, Sergio. Let's move to the next slide. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. I think we get it. I've kind of harped on the benefits here is the tax deferral that can continue. There's a private letter ruling by the IRS that we've linked onto. This is why we can do this. Many have not done that. Many don't want it. Many don't want the logistics of it. Since we do inherited, it just kind of fits in with what we kind of do anyway. So we grabbed the private letter ruling and have adopted that and are ready to go with this as of about 3 months ago. So Sergio, last thing I want to talk about here, and then we can open it up, is, I think, again, we've talked about some ideas and concepts that can help you with your current block of annuity premium, but also I think we're in that 7th to 8th inning of replacement business. So if you're working with trust-owned assets, or maybe you've got a nice relationship with an estate attorney, I think I've given you an idea that'll help you garner some assets, and these are going to be big cases. With that, where do you go with the money internally with Mass Mutual? Sergio would agree here. Our top sellers, the American Legend 7. Next slide, Sergio. It issues through age 85, takes all the different tax quals, inherited, non-qualified, qualified, inherited, qualified, everything. Takes Roth, everything you can think of virtually other than 401k. Minimum is $10,000. We allow for, this is one of the few flexible premium products in the market. So you can add flexible premium payments all the way through. and those have to be at least $2,000 per payment. You can see all the different index strategies that we have available in the contract to the right. Next slide. Sergio, one thing that's kind of cool with us, this middle bullet, will allow for 10% free out first year. So if you have a client who needs access to funds, know that you can get those right away from us. And then the other thing I really want to talk about here is the next slide, Sergio. And this is what you guys have gravitated to with us, I think. And that's the idea that, that there are carriers out there that I would say front run rate, right? They give you this great, attractive first year rate. And then ultimately in year 3, 4, or 5, or whatever subsequent year it might be, those rates get clipped. And now, you look like you've got mud on your face. Not a good experience for the client, not a good experience for you. Ultimately, you may not be able to move those assets. One thing that we do that's pretty cool is that we have a guaranteed cap on the S&P 500 as one of the index strategy options for you to choose. Next slide, Sergio, is our rates. And then I'm just going to close it here and turn it back over to you. But you can see here, our rates are pretty attractive. I went ahead and put in our rates here, Sergio, that are effective next Wednesday, May 7th. So next Wednesday, May 7th, these will be the rates. You can see even our fixed bucket is very good at 4.7% on 100,000 or more. Our cap is really good at 10% on the S&P 500. I've got, and I think Sergio has seen, our renewals piece. We have a really good renewals piece. I mean, if you go back the last 5 years, we haven't missed a renewal. So you could utilize the 10% cap if that's more attractive to you and your client, and know that we are very good at renewals. But where most clients are going is right here at the next index strategy. This is our 7-year cap lock. So that 8.5% cap is locked all 7 years. So you don't have to be bamboozled. You don't have to worry about what the renewal is going to be. Ultimately, 8.5 is my cap every year, all 7 years, and then let the S&P do its thing and see where you land. But what I would also like to point out here is whatever's allocated to this at the beginning must stay there, and you also can't allocate to it upon renewal if you were in something else. So some advisors like to put, say, 75% there, and then maybe utilize some of the other index strategies that are available. But I mean, we have gold. Gold's been running hot and heavy, obviously. We have real estate. So we have some nice non-correlated asset classes for you to choose. But again, I think what's really clipping along for us is that guaranteed cap. I think it's the highest in the market right now, or right at the top. And Sergio, that's what I got for you guys. I'm going to turn it over to you. Appreciate the business. I know my number's clicking here for you, but really IAMS is the place to go whenever you need anything from us. Please don't hesitate to take a picture of this or write down my number should you need anything at all. But I would urge you to go to your partners at IAMS to really get everything that you need that's Mass Mutual Ascent. Sergio, thanks for the time today. Really glad to be a part of this. And I
absolutely, Chad.
Time for 1 or 2 questions.
Understood. Appreciate you as well, Chad. I'm going to go ahead and launch our last poll of the day, and that is, would you like more information on Mass Mutual Ascend and their products? So if you would take that time to answer that question, and here, after a while, I will be sending out a link to this webinar, so you could, for those that missed it, can rewatch or watch it, I should say, along with some materials on these products. But I'll leave this up here for another couple seconds, and again, I appreciate everybody's consideration today joining this webinar, and that concludes today's discussion. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Sergio.
Bye now. Bye, Chad.